Okay, hi everybody, Monty here. Let's get started. This is a calculator activity, okay? So make sure you have some sort of online calculator that you can use for this activity. Doesn't matter which calculator, and feel free to use a phone, okay? So I'm going to be using the one like we would have in class. So now the idea is rise over run, okay? So let's grab a new color here. The rise and the run. It turns out that this 4 and this 8 are vital to finding the distance. And what we do is called the square button. 4 squared plus 8 squared equals that distance AB squared. Okay, so we know that 4 times 4 is 16, 8 times 8 is 64. That's equal to the square of the distance AB. All right, so AB squared adds 16 and 64, and we get 80. Later, we've got to practice taking the square root in order to get this 8.94. Another version, the rise over the run. The rise over the run. Okay, so the rise is 2, 2 squared is 4. The run is 5, 5 squared is 25. Add them together and we get 29. Later we've got to practice taking the square root, two numbers that multiply together to get 29, but we'll do that later. Okay, now the entry task. I want you to grab a calculator and take 8 times 8. What are you talking about, Monty? For those of you that haven't studied exponents, x to the 2 power means x times x. So in other words, 3 squared means 3 times 3 to give us 9. Okay? Now, this whole activity is so that I know you have a calculator. Okay? So this first one, 8 times 8. We could go 8 times 8, enter. But I hope that you practice using the squared button. Okay? This squared button. So we're going to go 8 squared, wrong one, 8 squared equals 64. Okay, let's do it again. 17 squared, 17 squared. Okay, 289. Okay, you do the next one. Pause the video. 29 times 29. All right. Now we're going to step it up. Okay? What is the opposite of squared? What is the opposite of squared? If x to the 2 power means x times x, we need to undo the squared. What's the opposite operation of squared? What turns out is called the square root. This symbol, okay, is called the radical sign. Okay? The radical sign. And we're going to actually undo the squared. So let's try it. Square root of 4. Well, first of all, what number times itself is 4? Turns out the answer is 2. Let's try it on a calculator. I want you to locate your square root button. If we were in class and you were using this calculator, you'd have to hit the second key and then the square root. Okay, square root. And it turns out that all these keys are on top of each other. What's the opposite of squared? Square root. Okay, the inverse is always the blue button underneath it. So let's put 4 in. The square root of 4 is 2. I want you to practice that. The square root of 25. Okay, second square root 25. Before I hit enter, do you know what it is? 5 times 5 is 5. Let's try it. Enter. It is 5. Now, keep going. Some of you might know these answers off the top of your head. Not why we're here today. The key is to use a calculator to find distance. Okay, so second square root 49 is 7. Square root of 144, 12. Okay, well, what if they're not perfect squares like this? Square root of 47. Well, if the square root of 49 was 7, this is going to be 6 point something, right? Well, we don't want to estimate. We want to use the calculator. So second square root, 47, okay, is 6.85. Now, in geometry, we like 1 decimal point accuracy, 6.855. We could round that up, 6.86. In this class, 6.9. Okay, let's use a different calculator. In this calculator, 49 square root, 47 square root. You see how this one you have to do it the other direction? Okay, so in this calculator, okay, you have to do it a different direction. Okay, so here's our clear button. Whoop, there's our clear button. 47 square root 6.89. Okay, how about the squareds? Are they the same idea? Is it the reverse function? 8 squared? No. Okay, 47 square root squared. Square root squared. Cool? All right, so thanks for doing that activity. I left one blank for you. Okay, let's go down. Now, the whole idea is this rise over run. Okay, so the rise, 9, the run, 8. This guy named Pythagoras discovered the relationship between one leg, the other leg, and the long side of the triangle known as hypotenuse. We're going to learn that vocabulary. Is 3 squared (4 squared) equals the long side squared. Okay, 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16, 5 times 5 is 25. Let's verify the rise and the run. So the rise is 9 squared, plus the run, 8 squared, is equal to 15 squared. Let's try it. What's 9 times 9? What's 8 times 8? And then what's 15 times 15? Absolutely. Go take your calculator. 15 squared, 225. Okay, let's add them together. And 225 is equal to 225. The key here is we used the slope, the rise over run. Okay, let's do one more. Okay, over 7, down 8. Let's try it. We have the first leg squared plus the second leg squared is equal to the long leg squared. Let's verify. 7 times 7 plus negative 8 times negative 8 equals this c squared, which in this case says 10 squared. Now, calculator, make sure that when you're doing these problems, 7 times 7, 7 squared is 49. Now, here's a common mistake right here. Okay, let's try negative 8, negative squared. Hey, 64. Now watch this. These fancy calculators. Watch what happens. 7 squared. 7 squared, 49. Negative 8 squared. Negative times a negative is a positive. Now be careful with this one, okay? Because this calculator may make a mistake. So you've got to go parenthesis -8, close the parenthesis, squared, so that it recognizes the positive 64. I think we all know that 10 times 10 is 100. Okay. What? What? It didn't work? What? Monty? No. This one does not work. Not true. Okay? So, I'm asking you to practice. Leg squared, leg squared. This one didn't work. Okay? I want you to know that you need a calculator to get through this class. Okay, so let's step it up. Okay, it's all about the rise and the run. It's all about the rise and the run. Okay, I want you to practice. 8 squared, 6 squared. 8 squared plus 6 squared equals the leg squared. Okay, do the math. Leg squared, the rise over the run is equal to the long side squared. And a new vocabulary word we're going to start using is the hypotenuse. All right, so 9 times 9 plus 12 times 12 is equal to that x squared. You do the math. Okay, you do the math. Okay, then for bonus points, find the missing point D. Okay, find the missing point D and then prove it. Prove it. Up, over, down, back. Where does it go? Okay, so thanks for participating. We're going to be doing this for a couple weeks where we have to be able to find the distance. The distance. Okay, what is the distance? How far are these 2 points apart? The distance. See you in class on Thursday.